Now, this is the digital age. What was the slogan for The Office? Do you remember that business, that company they worked for in The Office? Dunder Mifflin? What was their slogan? Limitless paper in a paperless age. You remember that? Does anybody remember? Come on. Well, I told you I was in a time warp since 1999. We watched that whole series. It was 6 seasons. Huh? Netflix. Limitless paper in a paperless age. You've got this on your phone already, but I gave you one because I want you to scribble on it. This is a rough draft for you this week. Capturing thoughts along the way, thinking it through, okay? But you notice how it's organized? You got a network name and a vision statement, and then what are the headings? This is ownership of these stewardships. That's what we're challenging you on. That's the key distinctive in my mind of a strategy coordinator. Sense of ownership concerning these essentials. Did you guys get one? Need one? Yeah? How many of you have already filled one of these out? Maybe it was just those who invited you who didn't want. How many of you, raise your hand if you filled one of these out. So there's at least a person at every table who's already got to start on this. But what we've got here, in fact, for the 4 days, we're not going to teach from this form, but we're going to have certain periods where we ask you to capture, wrestle, challenge you to think about this form and how you might capture ideas and takeaways. Okay? Even in some cases, make commitments to various pieces. All right? And from my perspective, the 19-day training that Jeff took us to, the strategy coordinator training, boiled down to these basic essentials. Now we might take stewardship of those things and make commitments. Okay? So this isn't for your library, this is for your refrigerator. You know, paste it on the fridge. Okay? So we're going to spend time, and hopefully we'll have sessions designed around each of these areas. I'm going to go ahead and challenge you, since we have such a diversity in the room, and we have 5 hours. No, what was it? 7 hours after we finish at 5 p.m. this evening. Look at soil there for a minute. We already spent some time on this morning, right? And that was doing the ethne study. Ponte to ethne, God's glory among the nations. But each one of you, the half of you who've given your introduction, have already talked about the soil you're committed to. I heard about Latinos, I heard about Houston, I heard about Southeast Houston, I heard about England, and I heard about Japan. Some of you are global, and you're thinking, what's the soil God's committed or asked you to engage? All right, just like Jesus in Galilee, Paul in Galatia, there was a target field for each of Paul's journeys, right? So why don't you work through that this evening, and if there's any questions about soil, we'll have a Q&A on that tomorrow. Show you some other resources. Let's pull up a demonstration. Is somebody still on a computer back there? And do we have the internet in here?
Yes.
Can you look up www. I'll write it on the board.
While you're doing that, can I say something else about season?
Please.
So in Paul's missionary journeys, he thinks he's going to, share the gospel somewhere in Asia, but
Yeah.
he keeps going because
Yes.
the Spirit's like, no, not here, not here, not here.
So that's part of baking is sticky. When you read Acts, I want you thinking about soil commitments, season, spirit, direction. The Macedonian call is what you're talking about, right? He thinks he's going to Asia, man from Macedonia in a dream,
And
and
then
his
he's packed up
team.
immediately.
What does it say? We concluded that God had compelled us to preach the gospel. His team followed along. Excellent. Pray 4, like a numeral 4. EV dot, I think it's .org. If it's not, can you try .net or .com? We'll show you an example of soil preparation. And hey, there it is. Look at this, guys. An example of a stewardship of soil. Have you ever seen this? Kumar, have you seen this? Here? This is, Kumar has a vision for a church, at least, he says, a church in every village of India. So there happens to be 600,000 plus villages. When we think about Basti, where it's related to caste, all the neighborhoods that are specific to ethne, it's 1.2 million settlements in India. So we look at India and we pick a state or a region. Pick North India. Then we look at the states of North India. Pick Bihar. Click on Bihar and Bihar comes up. We see all the districts of Bihar. Pick Jahanabad. You just scrolled past it. Gaya will work. Look at Gaya district. What's it mean to steward soil, guys? Click on Gaya district. Takes a minute to load. Another 25 seconds. We'll get there. If we really believe that Florida is to be reached, if we really believe that Latinos, 1 billion of them are our target, where, how, when, how will we engage them? How will we put awareness of the soil into the sowers' hands that we're engaging? So beyond just worldview is the location. So there are the blocks of Gaya. Click on one of them just at random. Gaya district. You know what Gaya district is, by the way? Just by chance. We happened on Gaya district in Bihar. I promise it wasn't intentional. Gaya district of Bihar is where Gautama, 6th century BC, fled Nepal and did all of his teaching. Gautama the Buddha. In Gaya district, here's a prayer guide in Hindi and English with prayer points in every village of that block. Listed in English and Hindi. Why did we do this? Stewardship of the soil. Stewardship of the soil. 620,000 villages written in English and Hindi. Why did we do this? We're putting vision into the hand of every simple church planter on the ground in India. Hey, I live in this village, and here's 5 villages I know within 10 kilometers. I'm getting on my bike. Let's go. And we're going to engage them. We're going to pray for them. We're going to start to report on them. Guys, this is what strategy coordinators do. This sense of stewardship to this level. By the way, I did not type those in myself. There's a guy who hangs upside down like a bat and never sleeps. His name is Dwayne Falk. He works for E3 Partners now. And with a team of disciples, Lee Berryman and others, 620,000 village points. Why? Because somebody cares enough to name that village and to figure out what it is in Devanagari script so a local brother can say, that's only 5 kilometers away. I could go there tomorrow. Because vision is power. You put vision in the hands for Florida and elsewhere. Just an example. What we're going to do right now, we've got a break at 3:30. That's half an hour from now. So at your tables, we're going to start where we're probably the most overlapped. Okay? With an exercise. And that would be right here in the center. When we talk about seed, okay, what we're going to suggest here is that you take 10 minutes. Teams are dispersed around the room. But you take 10 minutes and fill in 1 or 2 tools that are your go-to tools in each of those fields. So when you think about training, mobilizing, even doing entry, what are the tools you use? Gospel, what are the tools? You might write 3 circles there, or gospel bridge, or I'm still holding out on the Romans road, guys. Come on. You guys are getting way ahead of me. I got to catch up with 3 circles. Awesome. Okay, what about disciple making and church formation? These are the things we've pretty well agreed on in the past. We probably have the most synergy around the room. But here's the deal. You got 10 minutes to write your tools in. You got 20 minutes for 2 or 3 people at your table to volunteer. What I want at your table, once you've written in your tools, I'm going to give each person that wants to try it 2 minutes, 2-minute time frame. I want you to explain the critical path from an empty field to a healthy church to your table. Did you understand that? Did I explain it?
Yes, sir. I understand.
Well, that's what I'm asking. I'm not questioning your intelligence. I'm questioning my ability to explain my... Yeah?
You want to know how it flows, right?
That's right. So you may say, well, the first thing we do is get a 2x2 partner, and then you got 2 minutes to explain from the empty field, what's your critical path to get all the way to healthy church? You with me?
Yes.
10 minutes to fill it in if you need it. As soon as your table's ready, somebody volunteer and give an example at your table. Let's see if there's any gaps in our thinking or plan, if there's any question marks. So we'll do this activity, as many reps as possible at your table. At 3:30, we'll take a break. Just before we go to break, anybody who would give their 2-minute example to the whole group? Somebody who would say, this is how we start. Aaron Probatic is being volunteered. Hi, Philip.
Where I come from, if you volunteer somebody, that means you get to go.
Philip? This is Texas, man, but he's also from Texas. Maybe he just wanted to go.
House rules too. I'm from Houston. So.
From Houston. Same DFW.
He just did a really good job. That's why I was volunteering.
Would you like to?
She's a great communicator.
Thank you. Carly's going to give us a 2-minute version. Okay? This is how we roll in London. Manchester.
So what we do is we like to partner with any existing believers that we have, and we like to teach them to go and reach their oikos, which is their people that they know. And we also teach them to go out 2 by 2, and so we just go talk to anybody who will listen and share the gospel. And what we do whenever we meet these people is we share the gospel, and we use something called 3 circles, which is just a simple way to explain what Jesus has done for us and how we can follow him. And then we also like to share our testimony in like 30 seconds or a minute so people know how Jesus has transformed us. And then people who decide to believe, we take them to a really simple discipleship process where they learn 7 basic things of following Jesus, like baptism and how to pray and things like that. And then as they begin to grow, we take them into what we call long-term discipleship, which is just helping them get through larger chunks of scripture and start to understand for themselves how they can read the Bible and grow. And then as we start to make disciples and as they start to make other disciples, we begin to gather together in groups. And as these groups are coming together, we immediately teach them something called church circles, where they can read from Acts chapter 2 what the early church looked like, and they can covet together and become church themselves by also using those same things in their church. And we also use something called the 3/3 process, which is basically just a way that we use our time to be focused on obedience and not just knowledge. So we set goals and hold each other accountable to really grow in Christ. And then as these churches are formed, we're also looking for leaders. And as we start to identify these leaders, we raise them up and we use something that we call MAL, which is basically just a way of me teaching someone else everything that I know. I model for them, I assist them, I watch them, and then I launch them to do the same. And we also like to use something called IOIs with our leaders, which is just iron on iron. So we get to sharpen one another, just like Christ has called us to do.
Hey, we'll get somebody else in just a minute. What's the value of this exercise? What's the value of this exercise?
Easy, it's reproducible.
An elevator vision cast, okay? Okay, if you're walking up the stairs, walking down the stairs, you got enough breath in a few flights of stairs to tell how to go from an empty field to church with all of Christ's expectation. Good.
The other thing is, if you can't explain your plan in 2 minutes, you have no plan.
Okay? It's certainly going to reveal gaps in the plan, right? If you can't explain it in 2 minutes, what's the chances your disciple can explain it at all? Right? Maybe you've just never done the rep to actually, maybe all the pieces are there. Have you actually run through? Where are the little folds that you might trip over? Okay?